Welcome back to Hannity. So Donald Trump's rise in the polls appears to have some members of the liberal mainstream media so worried that they're starting to employ their favorite political tactic, that, of course, the race card. Take a look at how some over at MSNBC reacted to Donald Trump's rally in Alabama on Friday that drew tens of thousands of people. Watch this.
Are there any black people there?
I have not seen any today that have come out for Donald Trump. I actually spoke with a lot of people at lunch today, and they were all, to be blunt, Caucasian white people.
It's mostly white male Republicans, and it's basically white Americans who feel left out of Obama's America. It's a very ethnically polarizing appeal, and it really can only appeal to that white guy. It isn't going to appeal to African Americans and Latinos, because when he's saying to that white guy, you're getting yours, he means getting yours and getting it and taking it away from, or pushing away all of the rest of us.
Here with reaction, the chairman of TPART.net, Niger Innis, and criminal defense attorney Eric Guster. Eric, let me start with, I've got video of a Bernie Sanders rally. And let's see, take a look at the video. I'm looking. I don't see many black people there. I'm still looking. Looking hard, deep into the crowd, 15, 10, 11, 12 deep. No, not yet. Big crowd, though, I will say that. But I only see white people at that rally. Why are your fellow Democrats playing the race card this way? Because that is the lowest form of politics on the world stage, on the national stage.
It was a decently fair question when you're talking about a candidate in a stadium full of people, and you're asking
Bernie Sanders at 26,000 people. Let's look at let's
are
play
there
it
any
again.
black people there? That's a very fair question.
Point out where's Bernie Sanders? Where are the black people? It is. Where's Hillary Clinton's big black crowds? Where are they?
She does have black crowds at different events, and you have to admit that, Sean. And with what Trump is doing and what he's appealing to, that was his crowd in Mobile.
Right,
that Mobile is only 4 hours from me, so I know about the Mobile crowd. So that's what he was appealing to. It was a decently fair question.
No, when you say that that's who he's appealing to, you're saying, he's appealing to white people and that he's divisive.
No, I'm not.
Niger,
I'm not saying,
here's a question.
Hold on.
No.
I didn't say that.
You hold on.
I did
Let
not
me go
say
to
that.
Niger. But when you say that he's appealing to white people, that's what you're saying. Niger,
I did not say that.
If
Don't
you look at the
words,
economy,
Sean.
who has been disproportionately impacted the worst under Obama's policies? I see that it's black Americans, Hispanic Americans, and minorities in America.
That's exactly right. And what these liberals are really afraid of is the fact that Donald Trump could be extremely popular and could resonate in black and brown communities. The fact of the matter is black folk under this administration are catching hell. Our unemployment rate is double that of whites, actually double that of the national average. Places like Chicago, Baltimore, run by big liberal Democrats, big city, big government Democrats, are killing fields for young black men. You got 50 million people, nearly 50 million people on public assistance and food stamps. This is a disgrace, and there's great opportunity.
No, hang on. I want to get into this issue because this is important. You know what?
He's talking about public assistance, but a large percentage of public assistance people are Caucasian, so let's not.
Right, let me go to, if you look at the number of Americans in terms of percentage, unemployed, in poverty, on food stamps, black Americans have been disproportionately impacted by these negative liberal policies. Now, as it relates to the race question, even Bill Clinton, even he said Obama played the race card. And not only that, we'll take a trip down memory lane, how Democrats play the race card every campaign cycle. Let's roll the tape.
I think that they played the race card on me. And we now know from memos from the campaign and everything that they plan to do it all along.
When you don't vote, you let another church explode. When you don't vote, you allow another cross to burn.
On June 7, 1998, in Texas, my father was killed. He was beaten, chained, and then dragged 3 miles to his death, all because he was black. So when Governor George W. Bush refused to support hate crimes legislation, it was like my father was killed all over again.
They are in favor of affirmative action if you can dunk the basketball or sink a three-point shot. but they're not in favor of it if you merely have the potential to be a leader in your community. Don't tell me we've got a colorblind society.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
An overwhelming portion of the intensely demonstrated animosity toward President Barack Obama is based on the fact that he is a black man.
Niger Innes, we see this every year. Democrats play the race card. So Chris Matthews playing the race card is no different than every other political year, is it?
They're absolutely not. And what Trump and other Republicans cannot do is march to the beat of the liberal media establishment and those that will play the race card. They cannot go to the typical Republican default setting of having private meetings where Black lives don't matter, of having a meeting in the Senate dining hall with Al Sharpton because they want to be loved by the New York Times.
Well,
They're never going to be loved by the New York Times. And if you want to create a real conservative Republican constituency in black and brown communities, you've got to find new leadership.
All right, then here's an interesting thing that I think we could look at this particular point. Speaking, if that hypocrite, that phony Chris Matthews is so concerned about race issues, he has a colleague at his own network. Let's look at the history of Al Sharpton.
I'm tired of the mac and beef. You ain't nothing. You a punk. Now come on, do something.
We're the best chicken fries in the universe. But we don't go buy some kind of sandwich chicken. Folks was in the cave when we had built empires. We learned to admire them, but they knew to admire us. We built pyramids before Donald Trump ever knew what architecture was. David, yes. You want to be the only on television, the only in the newspaper, the only can talk.
Should Chris Matthews, Eric Guster, be critical of Al Sharpton for playing the race card, considering it's such an important issue to him?
But the important thing that Republicans need to do, they need to start talking to minority candidates, minority groups, and start appealing to them. Because if a person feels totally ignored by a group, like the Republican Party has ignored so many minorities for many years, then of course they're going to be ignored. So that is part of the problem that the Republicans have.
But that wasn't the question we're asking. Every election season, your party, the Democratic Party, plays the race card. Chris Matthews did it. Here's a montage. He plays the race card nearly every day, but he won't criticize. He won't criticize his fellow host. Watch this.
Up next, what did Paul Ryan mean when he blamed President Obama's victory last week on the urban vote? Do you like that word? Is he blowing that dog whistle again? This stuff about getting rid of the work requirement for health for welfare is dishonest. Everyone's pointed out it's dishonest, and you are playing that little ethnic card there. They keep saying Chicago, by the way. Have you noticed? Chicago. They keep saying Chicago. That's another thing that sends that message. This guy's helping the poor people in the bad neighborhoods, screwing us in the burbs. The goal will be to erase not just Obama from the history books, but any evidence that someone of his background should ever think of being president. This is rotten stuff, isn't it? The Republican effort to kill the black vote in state after state. We can all see what they're doing. Believing they can't convert the African-American vote, they've decided to slaughter it. Same-day registration, you got to be kidding. That's like putting down a welcome mat for African-American voters. Look, this is murder in broad daylight.
All right, so Chicago, Eric, according to NBC News, that's racist. Urban is racist if you say the term urban. And if you talk about a work requirement, that, too, is some type of dog whistle and racism. Are you going to accept that type of dialogue and discussion and that type of phony rhetoric used by your party?
A part of that is very true, and I'm going to talk about that. When the Republican Party is going against certain voters' rights, they're trying to block.
You mean a voter
ID? Voting districts.
A voter ID?
They're trying to change. They're trying to change districts. We're trying to redistrict. That is part of the problem. You're trying to block out the black vote. And you know that as well as Niger knows that. That is what happens. And when people being ostracized by the political process and being pushed out of the political process, then of course they're going to go to the other party, and that's one of the issues.
Is the word Chicago racist? Is the word urban racist? I mean, is this what it's now come to? They're going to count the number of blacks, Niger, in a crowd of a political candidate, but only the Republicans, not the Democrats.
That's exactly right. And the reason that the liberals are doing this is because they have an abysmally bad record for the black community. Black economic wealth has gone down. Black unemployment has gone up.
What has
wages for every other wages for every ethnic group has gone up. Blacks has gone down. The fact is they don't have a record to run on. So what do they run on? Racism. And what Republicans have to do, and Eric, a point of agreement, I agree that Republicans need to engage the black community, but which black community? Not Black Lives Matter. There is a black silent majority, a brown silent majority of decent people. Those are the folk that Republicans need to appeal to.
All right.
Thank you.
NBC, the network of cheap race card tactics. Coming up next tonight here on Hannity.
This is, in fact, manufactured partly by a press that's bored and partly by the Republicans. Here's the deal. She did not break any rules. She did not break any policy.
Good try. Former DNC Chair Howard Dean shockingly refuses to blame Hillary Clinton for her private server scandal. And then later tonight.
This is not about a right or left issue. This is right or wrong. And whether we are going to stand up for those who cannot speak for themselves, or if we're going to just turn a blind eye and pretend that this is not happening.
Utah Congresswoman Mia Love gets very emotional talking about the videos exposing Planned Parenthood. She'll join us tonight to weigh in on new footage that has been released as Hannity continues.